You're watching CarTell.tv and I'm Amelia. Now in the past, if I were to mention that Hyundai had a competitor for the Golf GTI, the Honda Civic Type R or the Renault Megane RS,
They would probably cringe at the idea.
well, not anymore. In the past few years, Hyundai have really upped their game and now they truly are a force to be reckoned with.
Moreover, their cars are vastly popular in Australia and they pamper us with tailored features, so we're more open to believing that a Hyundai could compete with the previously mentioned legends.
And for those of you who didn't believe me, well, wake up and smell the brake pads, because today I shall be introducing you to Hyundai's new i30 N. Now, what would you say if we told you that BMW M division has a car that could compete with the Golf, Civic and Megane? You would probably say,
Of course it could. It would be a BMW M series.
well, Hyundai's N division is now headed by Albert Biermann, former BMW M exec, and this i30 on steroids is his pride and joy. So let's take a look.
On the design front, the i30N is still an i30, just with a few more additions.
There are plenty of hints scattered throughout that let you know visually that this i30 means business.
Air intakes are larger, as are the ones right here under the grille, whose job it is to cool the brakes and enable the intercooler to do its job.
The rear also has a more pronounced diffuser, twin exhaust pipes and a nice rear spoiler. But if I had to describe the design in a few words, I'd call it pleasantly understated.
It's not as in-your-face as a Civic Type R, but it tells a knowing eye all it needs to know. For some onlookers, this will be enough to nod at you with an understanding smile, while for others, it will be the reason behind their stunned facial expression once you burn their GT86 off a set of lights. The engine is a 2-litre unit, somewhat familiar from the Sonata.
I say somewhat because it's been adjusted by adding bigger heavy-duty parts, oiling setup drawn from racing experience and a bigger turbo.
All this translates to a lot more than a figure sheet, but I still have to give you the figures. The engine produces 202 kilowatts and 353 newton meters of torque, which can rise up to 378 newton meters. The latter figure is the result of an overboost function that adds 25 newton meters more.
Behind the wheel? Now this is what really matters with cars like these. But before I take this one for a spin, let me introduce you to the engine note.
It sounds spectacular, especially when it's in N mode.
Now I've had a chance to drive the Golf GTI, the machine considered king in this market segment.
I haven't had the chance to drive them back to back, but I can offer a few comparisons. But let's talk about the i30 first. Hyundai says that the N division draws knowledge from Hyundai's WRC dealings, and that the i30N was set up using racing logic.
Okay, it's surely not as pumped as a WRC car, but there is something in them saying that.
It is stunning how easy it is to drive. Hot hatches are beloved, but inherent issues with grip that front-wheel drive cars have been accepted as a must. The i30N seems destined to break this.
The level of grip is amazing. I've got no idea what they've done, but this is far better than most of the front-wheel drive cars that I've driven.
Straight line performance is also great. The power delivery is smooth and the car seems ever ready to accelerate from any revs.
However, many of these will rarely see a track. They'll mostly just be driven around public roads. So the i30N has to be a really practical machine. And it is.
There are several driving modes that are adjusted by simple button pushes, and there are also several different adjustments you can perform using the touchscreen.
These change the nature of the car, including its engine operation, rev and LSD operation, as well as this sweet exhaust note.
The i30N can range from a nice city car with a reasonably comfy ride to a roaring beast which hugs the road like not much else.
However, even in its most timid setup, the i30N is a truly capable machine and definitely one that will put a smile on your face every time you shift down and hit that pedal.
Speaking of shifting, this one has a 6-speed manual that is very precise and easy to use.
It greatly adds to that feeling behind the wheel and ensures swift, composed shifts.
Braking is another story. The basic idea behind the brakes comes from the SUV lineup, but they have also been upgraded. You won't miss any stopping power.
Another great feature is this launch mode.
It prepares a car for the best possible sprint it can produce by controlling the turbo boost, employing the traction control system, and locking the revs of the engine in order to prevent excessive wheel spin.
So, how does it compare to the Golf? Well, this mode selector plays a big role.
When in normal, the car is, well, pretty normal. Very similar to the Golf GTI. However, when you want a bit more involvement and change the driving mode, the i30N becomes much more work.
This is good. And this is why you buy a hot hatch.
The suspension stiffens and steering becomes noticeably heavier, which means more involving and precise.
The cabin is obviously from a city hot hatch. It's very practical and well designed.
The controls are easy to reach, the nice big screen sits high up, and there is loads of storage space. Materials are also nice, and there is enough room both in the front and rear.
Probably the best thing is the front seats. The engineers have found this sweet spot between grip and comfort.
I've loved these seats from the moment I first sat in a motionless car, through relaxed city driving to G-force troubled cornering moments.
But despite it being aimed as a car to perform, Hyundai still haven't skimped out on some of those nicer amenities.
Both front seats are heated with electric adjustment. There's also dual climate control, proximity keys with push-button start.
Plus a bunch of other goodies that are a nice addition to this sweet-sounding engine that I'll let you hear again. You're welcome. If you're interested, the boot is about the same as a Golf's.
The i30 N comes with forward collision warning, AEB, driver attention alert, lane keep assist, reversing camera and parking sensors, adjustable dampers and much more. In short, the i30 N is as safe as you would expect it to be in this class. Still waiting for the ANCAP rating, but I don't think there'll be many problems with this.
After everything I've said, I have to remind you, this amazing, fun, very versatile and capable car that easily competes with the best in its class is actually the first ever hot hatch from Hyundai's N division.
This is their first attempt at tackling this market, and it is already among the best. I'm looking forward to seeing what a little experience will bring somewhere down the track. Speaking of the experience, the Golf has had about 4 decades of it with hot hatches, and the two cars compared,
the Golf is more refined and comfortable, but the i30N easily takes a cake when it comes to performance. But the biggest issue that I can see with this car is badge snobbery. Are people going to accept that such a high-performance vehicle is made by Hyundai? Thanks for watching CarTell TV. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and make sure that you hit that little notify me bell. That way, you'll get notified every time we put a new review up.